Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to another Sunday. It's so good to see you guys. I love seeing all your smiling faces, and I love to see those of you who have watched online. Boys and girls, we're learning about another miracle today, another really awesome miracle, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this one. But before we get into it, I want you guys to stand up and sing with us in worship, and we will meet back right after this.
I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my tomb till I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave. To your glorious day, you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all I know. The old made new, Jesus, when I met you, you called my name, and I ran out of that grave. I needed rescue, my sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan, now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing, now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my arms are
worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me.
Oh, boys and girls, that worship was so good, wasn't it? Okay, so we're talking about another miracle of Jesus. While Jesus walked on earth, he performed all these awesome miracles. And every Sunday, we're learning about a new one. And today's story, you're going to love. If you haven't heard it, you're going to love it. So Jesus is with his disciples, and he sends them out on the boat, and Jesus wants to go have a little bit of time to pray. So picture Jesus is on land and his disciples are out in the water on the boat. And a storm wind starts coming and a storm starts coming. And they kind of start to get a little worried, right? They're out on the boat. Where is Jesus? And then they look and they see where he is. Boys and girls, I want you to watch this video and see what happened and see, I just want you to watch Peter and see what Peter does and just watch this, and we're going to talk about it afterwards.
Hi everyone, it's Aunt Fernita. Today's story is called Walking on Water. The memory verse is from Luke chapter 18, verse 27. It says, "What is impossible with man is possible with God." Today's message is by keeping our eyes on Jesus, we are saved. Do you know how to swim? Can you stay on top of the water? A long time ago, Jesus and Peter were both on top of the water, but they weren't swimming. Let's find out what happened. The disciples were in a boat together, sailing across the Sea of Galilee. They had spent the day with Jesus and had seen him do something amazing. He had taken 5 loaves and 2 fish and used it to feed more than 5,000 people. How they wished Jesus would let the people crown him king. But at the end of the day, Jesus had sent the people home. And to the disciples he said, "Go ahead, go across the lake in the boat." Then Jesus had gone to a quiet place to pray. Out on the lake, dark clouds began to gather. The wind whipped angry waves against the fishing boat. The experienced fishermen strained at the oars. They pulled harder and harder, but the storm was very strong. The storm continued raging through the night. The wind pushed the waves higher and higher. By now, the disciples were a considerable distance from the shore. Shortly before morning, but while it was still dark, Jesus saw them way out on the lake and decided to go to them. Suddenly, the disciples saw someone coming across the water toward them. They cried out in fear. "It's a ghost!" they shouted. It frightened them to see a person coming toward them walking over the waves as if they were on solid ground. "Don't be afraid," a familiar voice called. "It is I, Jesus." Then Peter called out, "If it's really you, Lord, tell me to come to you on the water." "Come." Jesus beckoned toward his eager and sometimes reckless disciple. Looking at Jesus, Peter climbed out of the boat and began walking along the top of the water. He took several steps. Then he turned his eyes away from Jesus and looked back at the disciples. He may have been thinking, "Hey, look at me. Can you believe it?" As he started to turn back toward Jesus, he saw the huge waves. He felt the strong winds. He became afraid and he started to sink. Instantly, Peter's courage was gone. "Lord," he shouted, "save me!" Even as Peter began to sink, the strong arm of Jesus reached out to him. Jesus grasped hold of his outstretched hand and lifted him up. "You of little faith," Jesus said, "why did you doubt?" Jesus meant that Peter needed only to keep his eyes on him. Peter needed to keep believing that Jesus had the power to save him. Jesus put his arm around Peter, and they climbed into the boat. Once Jesus was in the boat, the wind calmed and the waves relaxed, and the little fishing boat sailed quietly to the other side of the lake. Today, Jesus says to us, "Just keep your eyes on me. I'm here to rescue you. You can't do it by yourself, but don't worry. I can save you. Just keep trusting me."
Created and produced by Falvo Fowler. This podcast is read by Franita Buddy Fullwood for Gracelink.net. Animation and artwork by Giogo Godoy. Audio is post-produced by Faith To at Studio El Piso in Singapore. The theme music is by Clayton Kinney. The audio engineer was Maurice Bailey.
Boys and girls, such a good story. Okay, they're on the boat. Jesus is on land. And what happens? The storm starts coming. And they look, and who do they see? Jesus walking on water. Can you believe that? He's just walking on water towards them, right? And then Peter says, "Well, hey, I want to do that, right?" And he steps out of the boat and he's looking at Jesus and he's walking. And boys and girls, when did he start to sink? The minute he took his eyes off Jesus, the minute he looked down at the water and he's like, "Whoa, what's happening?" And he started to sink. And Jesus saved him, right? Boys and girls, what does this story tell us? There's storms in life, right? There's things that are good that happen. But there's also storms and things that are bad that happen, right? But who can we rely on to get us through it? You're right. We can rely on Jesus. He's going to get us through these storms. He's going to be there with us. And boys and girls, when you have your eyes on Jesus, when you're looking at him, right? Or when you're praying to him and when you're relying on him, meaning you're leaning on him, and if you have a problem, you're praying and talking to him and doing what is right, making good choices, all those things. When things are tough in life and you keep your eyes on Jesus, he's gonna get you through them. You are not going to sink. He is going to see you through to the other side, just like he saw the disciples on the boat through to the other side in the storm. So I want you to remember that. I want you to remember that this week, no matter what happens. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Have a lot of faith. Keep praying about things. And he is there with us. And he is going to get you through that. I love you all so very much. And Jesus loves you all so very much. Don't ever forget that. And we will come back next week and we're going to talk about another incredible miracle of Jesus.